Okay, before I get into the watch list video for January 23rd, which is going to be Monday, real quick, Saturday, January 28th, our next day trading course is finally here. If you haven't signed up, we are offering our Christmas special price. It's in the email that I sent out today, or you can email me if you want it. This is the last chance to register. Is just I get probably the first couple days this week, and then we have to cut off registration. So we're making that Christmas special price available for the next couple days. Then registration's done. It is a full day. I'm talking 9 a.m. The last one we said from 9 to 5. So I mean, you definitely have to be ready. Come with your questions, but we said 9 to 5, and it went closer to 6, and we've added material this time. So it is going to be a long day, but we delve into every nuance, every step, every exact setup that we trade on a weekly basis to make our money. We break down each one of those setups completely. So when you're done with the course, you go to log in the next morning, you will know how to find the stocks to trade, what to do, how they set up, and if they set up, and then how to trade them. You won't have any questions at the opening bell on what to do. So we're very, very proud of our course, and it's turning traders around. You've got to have a process, and we'll walk you through every step of what we do. And if you haven't seen my track record, there's a video on the homepage. It walks you through, because to me, it's not about making a ton of money on any given trade. It's about consistency. And the only way to be consistent is to have a process and to be unwavering in your discipline. And so that's all the stuff we go into in the course. So you got to have a process. So check out the video on my homepage. It'll show you what I've done all the way from June till now, basically. And I'm really, really proud of the consistency more than I am the actual money that I brought in. And that consistency absolutely came from exactly what we teach in this course. All right? Excuse me, I babbled enough about that. A quick look at the SPY. We're still chopping sideways now for a good couple weeks, which is fine. That's good. It's consolidating, maybe for another big move higher. I don't concern myself too much with that because I just make a list to trade from every day, and then we add gappers in the morning, and I trade them as we teach. So the only reason I look at the SPY is I want to make sure it's not in a free fall before I start looking for longs the next day, and we don't have that, right? Okay, so SGY, nice breakout on Friday out of this tight range. Big volume on watch at for a possible follow-through day. As always, only with a proper intraday setup. ETRM, this doesn't look like much. It looks like what would be a little bounce on Friday. But it really wasn't a little bounce because if you look at these numbers, this went from 2 to over $30 in like 4 sessions or 4 sessions, and then came back down in the 6s. So we had it on watch on Friday, and hats off to Wayne, who's my partner for the course, called this at 666 right there on that candle, and you can see it went to over 10 in about 30 minutes. That was a beautiful call by Wayne. Now, why is it back on watch? Well, if you look at it on a 15-minute basis, I mean, you've got the big volume, big breakout, and you could argue that really it's just kind of flagging ever since, right? It came in, but it didn't round trip. So this one absolutely happened. With that kind of a move on Friday, has to be on watch going into Monday. NFEC, you had this big pop, quiet inside day that was lower on much lower volume. We might get a third day play there, so it goes on watch. Same with DELT, big pop, quiet inside day, possible third day play. PULM. This one did have a big pop, pulled in for a couple days, and then a nice secondary pop. It did have news back here that popped this, and now maybe we've got this lower high in, and I think this is worth watching. Fairly low float stock with decent news behind it. It's worth watching all week, actually. HYGS, nice breakout of this tight range. We'll look for a follow-through day tomorrow. XGTI put in a nice bounce. This is kind of a weird-looking chart, but had a big move back here from under $1.20 to almost $3 in the course of a couple weeks, and then had a nice pop this day. The range this day was 175 to 255, so this thing can move at times. And it's a few days lower, and then if I showed it 15-minute candles, it had a nice afternoon rally on Friday. So is this rally going to continue? We'll see, but it goes on watch. I like these lower float plays that can make big moves at times. APRI. And this is an example of those ones where I talked about a possible third day play. Look at APRI going into Friday, right? Had the big pop, quiet inside day on lower volume, and then you see a green day, and you say, well, how did you possibly play this in the chat room if you did at all? Because this was on watch. And just to give you an example, I called this one on Friday at $2.31 when it looked like this. All right, this met the parameters of one of the trades that we teach in the course. 231, worst case stop was below this candle at 219. And from 231, it went to over 280. That's a huge percentage move in one day. Why is it back on watch? Because it held up well after this big pop. So this one might have another day in it. Goes on watch. OCLR, nice pop on Thursday, quiet inside day on Friday. You see a theme here? And you have potential catalysts above. I like a break of Friday's high. And then you look, or Thursday's high, sorry. No, sorry. That's a break of Friday's high might get you through Thursday's high, and you look to the left, you've got a couple other potential catalysts that this could break through as well. I like the way it's holding up after that big pop on Thursday. So that's OCLR. BIOC is an example of one that after the huge pop and then the gap up has just been down. It's been on watch for several days. Has not given me a trade this entire time, but I keep putting it on watch because, and I'll show you TBIO as an example of that. TBIO had the big gap and was down several. I started watching it here. Next day it was on watch. Next day it was on watch. Didn't get a trade. Didn't give a setup either one of those days. And then look what happens on Friday. Did we call it in chat? Yes. My idea was over this opening range, right? I said over the high of day, might get this one going. And from 71 cents, which would have been the trigger, went all the way to up to over 92 cents. A huge percentage gain. Perfect example of why we have these on watch. Day after day, if they don't trigger on any given day, it doesn't mean they're invalid, right? So back to BIOC, absolutely worth watching again. And then lastly, I have Weight Watchers WTW, which had a huge pop here, and then it round tripped, and then had really a nice secondary move over the course of a week. Now we're 3 days lower into what I call the buy zone between the 8 and the 20-day moving average. Lower volume on this pullback. This one might be putting in a higher low here, maybe ready to turn back up on Monday or sometime this week. All right, I'm going to leave it at that. We'll add some gappers in the pre-market on Monday to this list, and I think we've got plenty to work with going into Monday for some nice trades. All right, enjoy the rest of your weekend.